Welcome back in. All right, look, guys, we're going to be talking about the tight end room here in Tuscaloosa, and if you look at what Coach Saban has done as far as the staff that he has hired this offseason, bringing in a guy like CJ Dupree from the transfer portal, it's got to make you believe that there is going to be a concentrated effort to become a more physical team offensively, and I think that's really where we got to start when we look at this tight end room is is that I think the brand of football is going to look a little different for Alabama in 2023.
Absolutely. How huge was it to get CJ on this staff, especially with Reese coming in as offense coordinator, who uses his tight ends like almost at every play in some capacity on his offense. So him and Niblack's about to show up and show out. I'm excited to see how this room is going to look this upcoming season.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. Obviously, getting Dupree was massive for us. Not a huge stat guy. I mean, last year he had caught 30 balls for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, but just a guy is, like you said, he's really going to help in the running game. He's 6'5", 260 pounds. So big old tight end, but also I know we're going to kind of dive into this in the next couple of minutes, but I wouldn't count out Robbie Utes as well. There's a lot of plays
That's
this
a good
year when he
point.
was on the field that I was like, who's this guy? And then a
Right.
couple minutes later, I'm like, I love this guy. He's one of my favorite players.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm excited about this tight end room because I think there's four guys that we could see play, you know, kind of share the role as first team guys, and kind of depending on what style of offense Alabama's wanting to run on that particular possession or particular play. I mean, I think you have, a guy like Robbie Oots and CJ Dupree that could play together. If you want to be a real physical team, or even a Miles Kitselman, he's a pretty physical football
Yeah.
player. But then you got a guy like Amari Niblack, who is just really a wide receiver playing tight end. So I'm excited to kind of see how the offense uses and utilizes these tight ends, because I think there is, you look at what Georgia's done with their tight ends. Of course, we don't have a Brock Bowers, nobody else does. We don't have a
No.
Darnell Washington, nobody else does. But I think what Alabama saw was that you can kind of build an offense around some tight ends that are mismatches, and also still be a physical football team, and then still also make plays deep down the field. And I think that's kind of what Alabama's wanting to do, and what Coach Saban is wanting to do. Bringing in, bringing in Ken Wisenhunt, who has tight end background. Tommy Reese heavily involves his tight ends. And Joe Cox is the tight end coach. He has a lot of history coaching tight ends since his playing days were over at Georgia. So I just think there's been an obvious effort being made to kind of rework the tight end room and kind of reemphasize the physicality of the offense.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited. Like you said, there's four guys that can play, and I expect all four of them to be on the field in some capacity a good bit this upcoming season.
Yeah, I agree. We've talked about it this episode and the last couple episodes. It's just about physicality and getting back to the
Right.
the Bama standard, like in the chat.
Yeah. By the way, that is a great YouTube channel, the Bama Standard. Just to
Yeah.
kind
Yeah,
of
shout out those guys.
give them a shout out, Justin, and all the former players that he has on there on his show. Just a fantastic show. So make sure you're subscribed to their channel as well. But look, let's kind of look at each player real quick. We've talked about the four guys, and I think we'll start with CJ Dupree, because I don't think you bring in that guy from Maryland without believing that he is going to be an instant impact player. I think you see a guy that is, like you said, 6'5", close to 260, but more athletic than what you think, but is not really going to, Brock Bowers anybody. So he's kind of a tweener, in my opinion. He's physical enough to play that, that inline tight end who's kind of, more or less a sixth offensive lineman, but he can also make plays in the passing game like a Cameron Latou can. And I think he really is a Cameron Latou top player, except with a hair more physicality to his game than what Latou had.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Joe?
Yeah, I agree as well. And I think the tight end position is becoming more and more important. I mean, we've seen it a lot in the NFL
Yeah.
Right,
with
right.
guys like George Kittle, Travis Kelsey, um, Darren Waller, Dallas Goddard, all these guys. I mean, so the tight end position is becoming very important. Obviously, it's extremely important to have some great receivers, but it's always nice to have a tight end that you can count on. You know, when all else fails, you can throw it to your tight end over the middle. He's going to get you 5 or 6 yards. I think it's been a long time since we've kind of had that. Latu's, but he's been decent last couple seasons. Obviously, before Latu, we had Irv Smith Jr. He showed some flashes. We thought Julio Billingsley was going to be, you know, what Brock Bowers is, but that didn't work out. So haven't really had that premier tight end since OJ Howard.
Right.
So I'm hoping maybe not this year per se, but I'm hoping we can kind of get back to that and help out. You know, the other thing about it, having a dependable tight end is what's a quarterback's best friend? A tight end, a security blanket. So
Right.
whether that be Jalen Milroe or Ty Simpson or Eli Holston or whoever is quarterback, I think it's important to have a tight end that you can rely on each play.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to mention that having a fresh face at quarterback and having a safety blanket like a good tight end is going to be key to help development of the quarterback. So bringing in somebody like CJ Dupree to help in that matter is going to be wonders in this offense. I do believe.
Yeah, so out of the group of tight ends that we have, who are you expecting to kind of be the one that receives the most targets this season? Joe, we'll start with you.
I'd probably say Amari Niblack. How do you say it?
Not
Black.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the most likely to be the receiving tight end. Obviously, Oots kind of used as a fullback, not necessarily he's not going to burn you down the field or anything. The same kind of goes for Dupree in the running game.
Yeah, I think Black probably have a lot of targets. Dupree, Oots, Ketzelman, I think it's the other guy. It just depends on the situation that they're in and how they're used. But I think Black would probably be the one who would probably receive the most targets.
See, I'm going to go with CJ Dupree. I think there's a little bit of a misconception of how athletic CJ Dupree is, and I really think that he's gonna. There's a reason that when he decided to transfer, that it was down to Alabama and Ohio State. The dude can play. I think Alabama kind of got a diamond in the rough in CJ Dupree, and I think he's going to be one of the more pleasant surprises, even in spring ball, but more importantly in the season here when it gets to the fall. Come what is it? Is it September? Into August, beginning of September when the season first game is. So I really like CJ Dupree. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. But you got to believe that a guy like Amari Niblack can get some targets as well. But how does he kind of fit in though? You got to think that with the way Robbie Oots was playing towards the end of the season, he was really tied in too. I think Niblack's going to have to come in and take that away from Robbie Oots. So, but like you said, the versatility is there between those four guys. And there's really a good combination of four players that are, really solid tight ends that Alabama has to work with and Tommy Rees has to work with. So it'll be a lot of fun to see what they do this spring with the tight end room. And I just feel like CJ Dupree is going to be surprising a lot of folks this spring.
Joe, got anything to add?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm the same. I think that we talk about being deep at every position pretty much, but this tight end room's going to be really deep this year, and Tommy Rees is going to have a lot to choose from, whether that be wide receiver or tight end for sure.